Our next story is about the farthest space mission that humanity has attempted in the last 4 decades. We are talking about the SpaceX-led private mission that will launch in less than 24 hours from now. Our next report getting you all the details.
4 crew members are all set and ready for their space mission. In fact, none of them are astronauts in the strict sense of the word, but they're undertaking the riskiest venture known to mankind, human spaceflight. They'll be traveling the farthest that humans have ventured in space. It's an experiment like never before. Usually it's the government-run space agencies that undertake such ventures, but this one is a private mission. Let's meet the crew of the first ever private spacewalk. Jared Isaacman is an American billionaire, the CEO of payments processing firm Shift4 Payments and a seasoned pilot. He is commanding the Polaris Dawn mission. He is paid for a series of these missions, partnering with Elon Musk's SpaceX. This will be Isaacman's second spaceflight. In 2021, he led the first all-civilian mission, Inspiration 4 mission to orbit. Scott Poteet has been a fighter pilot with the US Air Force and served more than 2 decades. He's got more than 3,200 flying hours under his belt. He's a close confidant and business associate of Jared Isaacman. Anna Menon is a SpaceX employee. Her job is to ensure that the procedures and protocols for astronaut missions are as required. She is responsible for the health and well-being of the 4-member crew, including herself. Sarah Gillis, an employee of SpaceX. Gillis is an astronaut trainer and makes sure that the spacefarers are trained on safety and flight operations. She has trained NASA astronauts for several missions. In recent years, we've seen private firms launch satellites to space. But only 2 private firms, SpaceX and Boeing, have launched astronauts to space. However, most astronauts launched to space stay within safe confines of the International Space Station. Very few venture out what is known as a spacewalk. Spacewalks are usually done to fix or make repairs on some components of the space station or such crucial activities. However, in all these years, only the experienced government-trained astronauts have undertaken spacewalks. Relatively, Polaris Dawn astronauts are a bunch of amateurs and first-timers, but they'll be doing the unthinkable. They'll be boarding the SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule that ferries astronauts to the space station. The SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket will carry them to space. But their destination is not the space station. The space station is about 425 kilometers above the Earth. The Polaris Dawn crew members will fly 1,400 kilometers above the Earth. As the craft carries them that far and that high, they will perform nearly 40 experiments on board. But there's more to come. In the initial hours, the craft will be at altitudes of 1,400 kilometers, where there's immense amount of radiation that the crew carrying spacecraft will face. However, the craft is designed to protect the crew throughout the 5-day mission or for longer if required. Gradually, once all preparations are done, the crew will lower themselves to 700 kilometers altitude. That's where they will attempt their spacewalk. Once at the designated spot, the crew carrying capsule will be open to the vastness of space. All of them will be wearing the new SpaceX suits, but remember, these suits are being used for the first time ever. During the 2-hour-long spacewalk effort, Isaacman and Gillis will exit the craft and walk or float in the nothingness of space by just holding a safety tether that is attached to the craft. This entire operation will be live streamed from multiple cameras. The risks are numerous, and so are the records. This mission will be the farthest that humans are traveling in space. After the final Apollo moon mission in 1972, this will be the furthest that women are traveling in space. This will be the first private spacewalk, and remember, this mission is standalone. which means that astronauts will not be visiting the space station. They go from Earth to space, spend 5 days in their capsule, and then perform their space work and return to Earth on day 6. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.